visual artist, so part of my practice as an artist is to try and decipher how manuscript painters used to traditionally design and paint in books. The manuscripts that I've been studying for the fellowship are a group of books that were made for a patron called Pir Budak, and he belonged to a Turkmen clan called the Black Sheep, and they were based in northwestern Iran. They were made in the middle of the 15th century. This manuscript is a Masnavi by Rumi. It's a particular poetic structure where you've got couplets that are read across the page, line by line. And in order to create the whole book, the craftsmen of the 15th century produced a template called a mistara. They measure out the text box very carefully on a piece of cardboard, and then they thread it up with string. And this is a mistara that I have recreated. So each page of the manuscript would have been placed over the mistara, and then the craftsman would rub with the thumb, which would create an impression. This was then used as a guide to rule up the text boxes. This is the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, which is a much more informal structure of poetry. If we look very carefully, we can see here on the back page the actual impressions of the mistara. This manuscript is very, very rich in illuminations. I wanted to try and decipher how the illuminators set about constructing these designs. And what I found was that although the design looks very complicated, it's actually quite easy to break it down. They would start with an almost architectural structure and then work within it to the next layer, which would be the scroll structure, and then on top of that, the details, the cartouches, and then it all comes together to produce this very intricate interlace. It's fascinating to understand that actually this is how these guys worked. Like most manuscripts of this period, we notice that there is a large amount of gold being used. I have explored different ways of grinding gold to try and recreate how the craftsmen of this period might have prepared their golden pigments. The scholarship was a really fantastic opportunity to be allowed to look very closely and intimately at some of the most precious manuscripts in the world.